Good morning, Wall Street winners. It is Tuesday, August the 13th, and we have just received the PPI data, and it has come in increasing by less than forecast in July. It was expected to go up by 0.2%, and it went up by 0.1%, which makes the soft landing scenario look a little better. It does appear, and we obviously have consumer price index tomorrow. This was producer price index, PPI, today, but it does seem to indicate that we may be heading towards a Fed making an announcement, a US Federal Reserve making an announcement in September that they will be potentially cutting rates. And that has sent the markets into the green. So if we look at where we are in the futures today, we have gone from the red in the Dow to the green right across the board. The NASDAQ has jumped even more. The S&P 500 is up beyond what it was earlier this morning in the 7 o'clock hour. And as we head into the day today, it looks like we're going to start off in the green with a positive upside surprise. If we take a look at a couple of movers in the market this morning, Starbucks has just announced, effective immediately, they are letting go their current CEO and replacing the CEO with the CEO from Chipotle, Mexican restaurants. So most of us know it as just Chipotle, but the Chipotle restaurant CEO is coming over to Starbucks and hoping to turn things around, and that has caused quite a jump, 13% increase in Starbucks stocks based on that announcement pre-market. At the same time, take a look at what Chipotle is doing. Chipotle Mexican Grill, it is down 7.75 or 7.8% right now on that announcement. So Chipotle losing their CEO and Starbucks gaining Chipotle's CEO in the hopes of making a turnaround in Starbucks. So those are two of the big movers as we go into the day. If we take a look at our retail and healthcare, Cardinal Healthcare reports earnings tomorrow. So this will be one to keep an eye on. Most of the healthcare stocks have had positive earnings. So it's likely that we could see some positive earnings out of this. We saw Home Depot. Home Depot is off. It's recovered quite a bit though, but they had earnings this morning. The earnings missed, sales or revenue increased, but their future forecast for the remainder of the year looks relatively weak. They anticipate that the consumer is not going to be spending what they maybe have previously forecast on home modifications, home renovations, home repair, and shopping in that big box store. We still have Walmart set to report on Thursday, so we're 2 days out from that when Alibaba also reports pre-market. So I do believe we're going to see a bounce in this. We saw this stock go up yesterday into the 69 range. It closed down below 69, but I believe it could continue to climb into earnings with the possibility of a possible or projected positive earnings announcement coming out on Thursday morning from Walmart. We can see Humana up 720 pre-market. Again, be leery of this. There's a lot of movement in this stock pre-market, and it doesn't always reflect what the stock opens at. So this could be an opportunity, if you own it, to sell it at the 355, and then it may open back at the 348 or even potentially lower when the market opens in about 45 minutes. I'm not paying much attention these days to the transport sector. JB Hunt, I believe, is more of a $150 stock than 162. So I'm just waiting for that to come down. They had some bad earnings this quarter. And CNR, one of the two Canadian railways, set to go on strike on, I believe, August 22nd. And if that's the case, I believe that's going to hurt the stock. So depending on how negotiations go heading into that deadline will really determine the movement of this stock. So that's one that I'm staying away from right now. Scrolling down to oil. So crude is corrected slightly. It's just under $80. So it is down a little on the day, but it had a pretty good week coming out of last week when it bottomed out really in the 72 range. It's come back quite a bit, and a lot of that is, again, based on the pending retaliation in the Middle East from or to Israel based on the recent attacks and the situation situation over in that area. As we scroll down to tack, the NASDAQ is doing relatively well as an index right now in the pre-market, and that's causing a lot of our tech stocks to get a bit of a jump and a bit of a lift. So we can see as we move through these, Microsoft looks to be up about $3. I think Microsoft is an attractive purchase at where it is right now. I bought and sold some ARM yesterday. It was moving $2, $3, $4 in that kind of range or envelope yesterday. It looks like it's going to be up a couple of dollars at the open today. AMD up as well. We've got Qualcomm regaining a little bit of ground. Now, beware, Qualcomm has been downgraded by at least one analyst this week, so that stock still has a little bit of room to go lower, and I would be careful around that one. You've got Amazon well off of its highs. I mean, it was up in the 190s earlier this month and or into July, and now down into the mid 160s. I'd be staying away from Tesla, especially with all the interviews and things that Elon's doing outside of running the business and the political landscape and conversation that he's engaging in. I think that poses a bit of a risk to that company. I'm still a lover of Meta. I think Meta is going to be a $550 stock within the next month or month and a half. I'm stocking up on Meta, loving that stock on a pullback. And then NVIDIA is coming back as well. We've got earnings coming out at the end of the month, the 28th for NVIDIA. I have to believe these earnings are going to be extremely strong. Companies are spending on they're making capex or capital expenditure investments in AI, and NVIDIA is who is driving that. Now, there is talk today in particular in the news about Huawei and the Huawei chips, and they're creating a new AI chip that can service the Chinese market. The challenge with Huawei is that they don't have the software that integrates with the hardware that NVIDIA does. NVIDIA has an incredible holistic solution. They have for years, going back to the gaming days, then the crypto days, and now the AI days. They've ridden each wave and built a super, super tight ecosystem within their business and built software to support all of the hardware. And they are just a very, very tough company to compete against based upon that. We've got Google making a bit of a positive comeback today. I think it's very attractive at where it is, and we'll be looking and watching that one today. And TSM. So TSM had great earnings. It dropped with everyone else dropping last Monday in the tech sell-off, but this is going to be a $200 stock by the end of the year, and I think it's a great purchase in the 167 level. Then we get down to our financials, and obviously financials benefiting from this PPI print, thinking that rate cuts are coming and pending. SoFi looking like it's going to be up about 8 to 10 cents this morning. And then as we scroll down into some of the others, I think Raymond James under 110. If this opens up below 110, I think it's a buy today. I think it could be a 1 or 2% gain in Raymond James today. JP Morgan is up just slightly, but should go up a lot more today. Morgan Stanley and Goldman both set to increase today as well based on that PPI print. Now be careful with the financial sector today, because when CPI comes out tomorrow, if there's any contradiction in the CPI information released versus the PPI today, we could see a complete shift in where things are, and we could see red across the board. So good to probably get in and out of your positions today, take your profits when they're there, and then wait for a buying opportunity. If you miss the uplift tomorrow because it does go green on the screen, you're going to have another opportunity to do that. Way better, in my opinion, to mitigate your risk than to roll the dice and